Making $20,000 with my clothing brand was supposed to be my big breakthrough, but instead, it became a disaster. See, what most people don't realize about coming up in business is that just as easily as you make it, you can lose it all. Success doesn't come with a warning label. One moment, everything is falling into place. The next, you're watching it slip right through your fingers. And what sucks is that you don't even notice it happening until it's too late.
Showtime.
By the end of 2024, my brand was going absolutely crazy. I had locked in for a few months, focused on building something real, and the result? Sales started rolling in. What began as just another drop in October turned into my biggest quarter yet. In Q4 alone, the brand pulled in over $20,000. It was surreal, a blessing from God. The late nights, the countless hours, the sacrifices, it was all paying off. For the first time, I felt like my brand was truly solidified, and finally, I could enjoy the fruits of my labor. But here's what I didn't realize at the time. If you're not improving, you're declining. Coming into 2025, I expected my brand to keep climbing, maybe even outdo the months before. And man, was I wrong. In January, we barely hit 2K in revenue, and that was a wake-up call. We always hear about the ups and downs of business, but when it happens to you, it feels like everything is falling apart in front of your eyes. And the hardest part, I had no one to blame but myself. The truth is, I got complacent. No new drops, no big promotions, just the usual story posts, a couple of reels, and the occasional influencer collab. I was coasting, and as the numbers dipped and engagement dropped, reality started sinking in. My brand was fading, but there was no way I was just about to watch it happen. So, I had to make a choice. Sit back and hope things picked up, or lock in and take action. So I started brainstorming. What had worked for me before? What were other brands in my space doing to stay ahead? How could I create a system that guaranteed sales for my clothing brand? And then, it hit me. Paid ads. You see, big clothing brands like Zara, Fashion Nova, and even Nike are using paid ads to put their products in front of thousands of people every single day. If they're making millions off it, why wouldn't I tap into the same strategy? But here's the thing, I had tried running ads before. Sometimes I'd throw money into campaigns without any real plan. Other times I'd trust expert ad agencies only to get ghosted. My experience with ads, let's just say it was not great. But the real issue, I never actually took the time to learn it myself. And one thing about me, God willing, once I set my mind to something, I will figure it out. So why would learning ads be any different? It was time to get to work. I knew that if I wanted to succeed with ads, I had to actually understand how they worked. So I tapped into the best free resource out there, YouTube. Hours of watching so-called gurus breaking down ad strategies, pages of notes, and finally, it started to click. I was connecting the dots, understanding why some brands were scaling effortlessly, while others burned cash for nothing. But before I started throwing money into launching my own ads, I had to break down the basics. So here's the deal. Meta owns Facebook and Instagram, which means when people talk about Facebook ads, they're really talking about Meta ads, and you can run them on both platforms. But let's be real. How many people under the age of 30 are casually scrolling Facebook in their free time? Exactly. So my main strategy was definitely going to be aimed towards Instagram users. Anyways, after watching video after video, I noticed something. Most of these self-proclaimed ad experts were repeating the same basic formula. I call it the ad equation. Good product plus good creative and offer equals sales. Seems pretty simple, right? Just launch the ads and watch the sales come in. Yeah, no, that's exactly where most people mess up. Maybe even where I had messed up before. Before throwing money into ads, you have to step back and think like a customer. People are bombarded with ads all day long. So what's gonna make yours stand apart from all the others? Like I mentioned, there are 3 key pieces of a winning ad. The first, and most important, is the product. If your product does not create value in another person's life, don't even think about selling it. The next key ingredient is a good creative. The creative is basically all the things that make up an ad. The visuals, the text, even the call to action. All these little things play a huge role in how your ad is received. And the final ingredient is the offer. This is the cherry on top. A strong, almost irresistible offer goes a long way in the success of any ad. This plays a huge part in differentiating your ad from the hundreds of ads that people see on a day-to-day basis. And as you implement these three critical elements, you'll find that the secret sauce is to see things through the eyes of a potential customer, and then create the products and content that speak directly to them. For some of you, that might mean scrapping your products altogether and starting fresh. But luckily for me, I already knew that people had found value in my product. The issue for my brand was not the product, it was how I was presenting it. So I went back to the drawing board. I crafted high converting creatives, ones that clearly outlined the product's benefits and included strong calls to action. And after just a couple days of learning ads, I felt like I knew enough to start getting my store popping. Oh yeah, but one thing I didn't mention is I have just 30 days to reach $5,000 in revenue from my clothing brand, strictly from ads, just to make things more interesting, you know? And if I fail, I'm gonna give $100 to a random subscriber, so stick around to find out if you'll get a chance at winning $100. But anyways, at this point I had the knowledge, I had the strategy, and the creatives were ready to go. There was only one thing left to do, put my money where my mouth was. So I set up my ad campaigns and hit launch. The excitement of going live with the ads faded fast. After just 1 week, I was already in the negative. Each sale was running me about $35 of ad spend. I was barely breaking even. I needed to change something, and quick. But at this point, I was confused. I had taken the time to implement every part of the ad equation. So what did I do wrong? I went to YouTube to look for answers. One huge problem I had was I just didn't know when to turn off what ads. I would see an ad getting a lot of spend, and if the cost per purchase was high on that ad, I would freak out and turn it off before it costed me too much money. But after doing some research on the topic, I found that I was doing things all wrong. Let me explain something about how meta ads work. The meta algorithm has millions of users whose data is readily at its disposal. It's been trained to maximize for sales. In other words, it knows the little triggers that would indicate that somebody is thinking of buying. So if Meta is putting a lot of my ad spend into one creative, then that ad creative is probably the best one that's available. The key is not to turn off the ad, but to create better creatives that will outspend the highest spender. Make sense? So my mistake was that when Meta was choosing which ad to spend money on, I got afraid when I saw a higher cost per result. But in reality, I just needed to be patient. My new strategy meant that I would let ads run for longer before just shutting it off. If an ad underperformed for 3 to 7 days, at that point I could let that ad go. So using this new strategy, I decided to give a second chance to some of the creatives I may have given up on too early. And one of these creatives started doing numbers. It turns out the meta algorithm is pretty good at its job. It had been giving that creative the most spend because it actually was the best creative at the time. And after turning that creative back on, in the second week of running ads, my cost per purchase dropped from $35 to $26, almost a $10 difference. Now you might be thinking, bro, $26 to get a purchase? That's still high. Well, first of all, yeah, my target was 20, but you're missing the point. My ads were now profitable. And as I honed in on what was working, I was confident that I would be seeing better and better results in the coming days. At this point, we're 15 days into the ads being up, and I've only made about $1,100. The good news is my website had overall reached about $2,000 in that time frame. The bad news is I had just 15 days to turn things up, or else I was not going to reach that goal of $5,000. And one of you would be walking away with the cash prize. Although the ads were steadily improving, it was important that I continue to test new creatives. You see, my ads were heavily reliant on one winning creative. So that meant if this one stopped performing, I'd be cooked. With time winding down, I decided to take a big risk. I began running ads on one of my other less popular products. In the past, I had already sold hundreds of the t-shirts, but my hoodies were not much of a fan favorite, so spending money on them in front of more eyes was a huge risk, but one that I felt I needed to take to have a chance of winning this challenge. And turns out, this strange decision was one of the best moves I could have made. As I started running ads for the hoodies, Meta was putting more of my spend into the hoodies ads than the t-shirts. The algorithm had found a new winner. Although I was hesitant to put the product in an ad, it was a good product, and this showed as the sales continued to come in. In week 3 alone, my ads generated more than weeks 1 and 2 combined. Things were looking pretty good, but you know what they say, more ads, more problems. Alright, that was kind of corny. As I was scaling my ads, getting more eyes on my brand, this meant more customers, but it also meant more complaints, refunds, and overall stress. The pressure of handling customers' emails was something that started to take its toll on me. Whether it be impatient customers, people ordering the wrong size, or refund requests, I found myself wearing a lot of hats in the business. I was making high-performing creatives, running the social media pages, answering emails. The truth is, it was a lot, but as I began to feel overwhelmed, it was important that I remember this is what comes with business. I had wanted to be in a position where I could use my brand to spread a meaningful message, and by the grace of God, I found myself in that exact position. So it was up to me to lock in and keep providing value for my customers. So that's exactly what I intended to do. We now have just 1 week left in the challenge, and my ads had generated about $2,500, which meant that with only 7 days left, I was only half the distance towards my goal. And at this point, my main focus was on scaling. I had to be extremely careful with how I went about this. My strategy was to increase spend as consistently as possible, but I tried not to raise spend by more than 33% in one day, because I knew that if I pushed it too far, that would send my ads back into the learning phase. In this late in the challenge, I could not afford to restart. As time was winding down, I was seeing some of the best days my brand had seen in some time. $250, $450, $299. I was really getting the hang of it, but would there be enough time? Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you have all been waiting for. Did we reach our goal of making $5,000 in 30 days strictly from ads? Now let me just say, Bro, who are you? Bro, you ain't here? For the people looking to start their website today, they can create their clothing brands on Shopify starting at $1 per month. Bro, Shopify is even what you use, bro. It's probably the best platform to start a website on. And for the people who want to get into running an online brand, starting at only $1 per month, bro, all they gotta do is use our link in the description. You really forgot to tell them, bro? Lock in. Alright, my fault for interrupting. Hey, y'all heard the man. Use my link in the description to start using Shopify today. Only $1 per month. But as I was saying, y'all, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. How much money did we make from the ads? Overall, in the 30 days, my website generated $5,890.49, which is obviously a lot. You know, that's obviously very good, $5,000, but that's my total revenue for the month. So how much did the ads contribute to? That's what we're looking for, right? The ads ended up generating me $3,533.60. So as you guys can see, although we had quite a successful 30 days, I did not reach the threshold. I did not make $5,000 only from ads. So that means one of you guys gets $100, man. Clap it up, clap it up. The way that you can enter into the giveaway, all you gotta do is like the video, comment your favorite moment from the video and your Instagram handle, and make sure to subscribe, man. I'm gonna hit up one of y'all, get that $100 out to you. But yeah, overall, this was an amazing experience, I'd say. The main thing I learned over the 30 days is that ads are really good for if you have good products and you have stuff that actually provides value to people. It basically helps you to put a flame to the fire. It helps you to expand on what's already gonna work well. Ads should not make or break your business, because all ads does is get your brand in front of more eyes. So if you have a trash brand, it's gonna just put more garbage in front of people's eyes. But yeah, I hope y'all don't take away the fact that, oh, if I just run ads, my brand's gonna take off. No, really what you should take away is focus on providing value. Focus on genuinely making other people's lives better or helping other people through whatever you may be selling. It could be a service, it could be an item, it could be whatever, it does not matter. People want to buy things that are valuable to them. And how do you provide value to people's lives? Well, that's up to you to find out. I thank you all for watching this video. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Like, this is a new type of video for me. I'm trying out a new editing style, new everything for real. I just hope y'all like it, man. I want to end off with the verse of the day, Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who are called according to his purpose. Y'all keep pushing. I love y'all so much. This is the start of something great. I can feel it. If you like this video, you'll probably also like this other video I made. It's basically about the raw reality of running a clothing brand. So check it out. God bless. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.
Showtime.